This video is to address task number 9 in week number 5. And in task number 9, we are asked to determine the general form for any point on line B from the previous problem, which was task number 8, in terms of just the variable x. So a couple things that I want to address about task number 8 is that within task number 8, we went ahead and we isolated for y, just like we always did for all of the other tasks. But I also isolated for z, and I just want to show that work yet again. So if I'm isolating for z, I'm actually taking my equation, and I can actually go right back up to this first equation right here, and I can isolate for z using this one. So if I use this equation and I isolate for z, what I'm really going to be doing is I'm going to move the 2y over. So I'm going to have negative z equals negative 2y minus 1. And then I'm going to need to isolate that negative off and get the z by itself. So we're going to have z equals 2y plus 1. And in the previous task number 8, again, we also saw that y equaled x. So if I go back to this, wherever I have my y, I can actually replace that with x. So 2x plus 1. Now what this is going to help us with is creating our general form, because now we can say that our general form for any point on x, knowing that y is equal to x, but also that z is equal to 2x plus 1, we can actually say that our point on this graph, any point on line B, is going to have the coordinate values x, 2x plus 1. Now let's test that out. So my tabular version tried to look at some values, and one of the values in my tabular version was the value, the coordinate values negative 2, negative 2, negative 3. And I'm going to just show you that over here I'd actually previously put it into the algebra format of GeoGebra, and it is showing you that it is going to be point B. So now we're going to just investigate, does that point end up on line B? And it does. Okay, so point B, which is right there, is on line B. Okay, now to test out further coordinates, I'm going to go over here and again type in some of the coordinates I found using my tabular representation. So we have the coordinate value negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, and actually I'm sorry, that 9 should have been a parenthesis. And let me just start over. So we should have had parenthesis negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. And that is going to be point C. And again, I'm going to switch back to the view of my graph and show that that point does also show up on the graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue testing. So my next point that I tested was the intersecting point, which is actually 0, 0, 1. And that was the intercept for z. And notice that the x and y intercepts are actually just 0. Whenever x is 0, y will be 0, and vice versa. So we're going to go ahead and graph that. That's going to be point D. And again, looking at our graph, it does line up on line B. Okay, I'm going to test another point. And in the final point on my tabular representation was the coordinate value of 1, 1, 3. So 1, 1, 3, and this is going to be point E. And going back to my graph, I can again see from all aspects and all perspectives that E is also on my graph. So this was a great representation that showed the points on the graph. So that is line B, and again, the general form for any coordinate value on line B is x, 2x plus 1.